I want to give a huge shout out and a thank you to my sponsor, P2 Collectibles, located at 204 East McGalley Road in Muncie and on eBay as well. So next time you're here in Muncie, let us know. Come give us a visit. Hey, what is up, y'all? This is Alex from Plus3 TCG, and I am coming at y'all with a deck profile today. This is one of the most fun casual decks I have seen in a little bit. I think it's very fun being able to essentially just like one punch man your opponent with Crusadias, and that is kind of the allure of the deck, is going second and just punching your opponent either one time for a really big amount of damage, or you are clearing their board for a game. It's just a lot of fun. So let's hop right into the profile. So I think this is kind of obligatory. Playing 3 Rescue Cat. This is an amazing starter card because this gets you into 2 Crusadia monsters, which can get you into an Equimax OTK, which is pretty insane. And then we just play a lot of Crusadia monsters. 3 Maximus, because this is the one that gives you the OTK more times than not, because it allows you to do double damage. You can target a Crusadia Link monster, and then it does double damage. And then that is very nice in unison with the field spell. And then 3 Crusadia Draco. I think this is another one of the most important cards because this allows you your grave recyclability, allows you to float your monsters back. You're usually floating back the monster that you had to normal summon to go into your Crusadia combo. So if you open a Maximus, you'd normal the Maximus and then continue your plays until you can Draco, target the Maximus in grave so that you can special it under Equimax. And then we're playing 2 Arborea. I think this card is important, but I don't think it is as important to search, especially or to open, especially when you can search it with Reinforcement of the Army. So I feel like playing 2 is good enough right now. I also think it's relevant to point out that this thing is a tuna. So we can maybe look forward to Crusadia Synchro monsters. I don't know, I think that would be very, very fun to add a Synchro element to this. And then Leonis. Regardless, this card is not the one you really want to open up because if you're going to open up this, you want to open up Rescue Cat so that you can get into 2 of these. So opening 1 isn't terrible as long as you have 2 in the deck. And then we're playing 2 what I think is the worst one, Reclusia. Opening it is great, but it's a 1-for-1 where more times than not, you're targeting itself to pop itself, and then you can potentially save it with Arborea, whatever that card's name was, the one that can save it from destruction. So in that aspect, it's really good. And you can push for game, and you can just Reclusia, save with Arborea, and then continue your play. This one I'm iffy on still. World Crown is amazing because it is an extra deck monster negator. But it's not good unless you can unless it's in unison with the Crusadia monster and you run so many of them that it's unlikely that you're not going to see a Crusadia monster. But it's alright. I could maybe see cutting it to 1. Or just cutting it all together, but it has came in so many times for OTKs. I'm not sure what the statistics are on that, but as far as testing is gone, this card is pretty good, and I think it's worth at least playing at 1, but I choose to play it at 2. Then I play a small Kaiju package, what I think are the important ones. This one is the Solemn Judgment. This one is the Negator of all things on your turn, so I think it's kind of relevant. And then Jizakura, which can negate targeting stuff. For the most part, though, you're not getting their effects off all the time. You are just trying to get these kaiju searched, give your opponent one of the kaijus so that you can point to it with Equimax and then do a ton of damage. And then, speaking of more interruption, playing 3 Ash, 2 Droll, and 2 Impermanence. Impermanence, I think, is important, but not as important, just as far as competitive mindedness goes. This is important because it can be called by the grave, and it allows you just another interruption on their turn. And for the spells, let's put all these away. For the spells, we're playing 1 Rhoda because it can search out Arborea, which essentially just gives this deck another starter card. And I think a great addition to the deck is the Sky Striker. I wouldn't say engine, you're just playing Hornet Drones. You can play Engage if you'd like. think it's kind of pricey, but it is kind of relevant in this deck because you're not always having monsters in the extra deck, or you're not always having monsters in the main monster zone. They're mainly just in the extra deck monster zone. So you could potentially afford to play engages in this deck. It's just, can you physically afford to play engages? Because those thing cards are still expensive, but these still give you great extension. You can go into your Crusadia plays and then just summon these under them if you don't have anything else. And 2 terraforming to search out our 2 field spells, either Kyoto Waterfront or Crusadia Revival. You really don't need this card outside of going for game. So if you're searching this card, you should be trying to go for game. If not, don't search it. Just search your 2 of Crusadia Power. You can argue to play 3 of these, but opening this without like a Crusadia combo or something like relevant to save, opening it's not that good. So 2 is good because you're really just trying to search it. You're trying to search all the Crusadia spells, Revival and Power, but if you already open Waterfront and you have the potential to search out Crusadia Revival with Terraforming, then do that so that you can search Crusadia Power with Leonix. And then we have our broken one of Interrupted Kaiju Slumber and Monster Reborn. I see people playing the World Legacy card. I don't think it's as good as Monster Reborn because there's almost no situations where you are able to normal summon that World Legacy monster, so that when you do tribute it, you can search out a World Legacy, that essentially the Monster Reborn for stuff that Link monsters point to. Secession, yeah, World Legacy Secession. So I think Monster Reborn has a little bit more merit to it than playing that card, and that's why I chose to play that instead. And then Kaiju Slumber is, of course, just so that you can get Kaijus on board, so that you can point to them and then punch for game. And then for the extra deck, 3 Magius is probably the most important card as far as like searchers that you want to start off with, because it's like Zoo. You just link into 1 so that you can summon 1 to this, so that it's special, or so that adds a monster. This is your spell or trap add, but we're only playing the spell, so that's all that matters with this card. It still can get pretty big because it points up and down, so you can still point a Kaiju to this and point something like the World Legacy monster, and this is still pretty big and can still potentially OTK if you have the field spell and your opponent has a lot of monsters. And then we are playing the 2 Equimax. I think this is important to play because at 2, because if they get rid of the first one, it can be a problem. But more times than not, you're not really going into more than 1. So if you want to just play 1 because you can't get another one, do so. But I kind of think playing 2 is necessary. And then the Sky Striker, Kagari, so that you can add back your drones, and then Ace Ace Hayate if you ever need to attack directly, but really it's just there to summon another monster underneath Crusades if you absolutely have to. And then we have stuff just clear board, Cerebus, Phoenix. You're not really going into this too much. Underclock Taker, I went into a couple times because you can point to like any Crusadia monster like Equimax and this, and then a Crusadia monster here and a Crusadia monster under there is a lot of damage because you can lower your opponent's monster by whatever this points to and then keep pushing. Topological Trithmania for back row stuff, and then Borreload for like absolute problem stuff. And then my own personal tech, I'm playing the Chimera Tech Mega Fleet for when you side in Cyber Dragons. If you're playing this competitively, this can just be any other Link monster or like a rank 3 if you want to, because there's a lot of level 3s in here, or a rank 4 if you went to like a Cowboy if you're really trying to push your game, but I don't think that's necessary. But I did choose to play Mega Fleet because you can side in Cyber Dragons going second. You can just effectively summon those, Mega Fleet through like a Tri-Gate board, and then try to continue pushing for a game. And yeah, that's the deck profile, y'all. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. I've been practicing with this deck quite a bit because I've been having a lot of fun with just punching 1 time for over 8,000, and that is a lot of fun. Like I said, let me know what you think down in the comments section below about my ratios and whatnot, my card choices, and this is Alton +3 TCG signing out, y'all.